Welcome to another edition of The Bottom Line. Jim, a few months ago, when this pandemic was starting, we were talking about how remarkable it was that the government, the Democrats and Republicans got everything together, got a huge stimulus package out really quickly. Now it's August. That most of that money has run out or been spent, and we've got nothing. We're now going to go off of that cliff that we avoided back in the spring. It's very unfortunate.
Well, Uncle Donald Trump may have provided just a little bit of cushion here, not a heck of a lot, with his idea that he will give $400 per person, per unemployed person, added to their unemployment checks if the states agree to kick in for that. Or that was the original thing. Then he changed it a couple of days ago, saying, even if you don't kick in, we'll give you $300. So, of course, it'll only last for 6 weeks because he's taking out of a pot of money that only has enough to last for 6 weeks. And it's unsure when they'll actually get it because the program, when the unemployed will get it, because the program isn't really set up yet.
So there's a lot less than meets the eye with Trump's executive orders. There's another executive order that would suspend the payroll tax for the rest of this year. Essentially, the tax all of us working people pay for Social Security and Medicare. That's unlikely to provide any stimulus, even if it happens, because I think both employers and payroll processors are very very concerned about the logistics of doing that.
Well, he can suspend it, and he suspended it until December 31st, but he can't cancel it. In other words, you'll still owe the money. You'll have to pay it, even if if your employer stops taking it out of your paycheck, you'll have to pay it through your income taxes. Next.
Right. So a couple of things about that. I mean, one is it's only going to help working people if it helps anybody at all, and most people who still have their jobs are not not really constrained from paying their bills in this crisis. It's the people who've been furloughed, who have lost their jobs, who have had to shut down their businesses that are suffering. Those are the people who really needed help from, for instance, the extra $600 in unemployment benefits. That's not happening. And secondly, even if you were inclined to say, well, boy, that's nice, a little bit extra money in my paycheck, you got that thought in the back of your head, well, I'm going to have to pay this in January, so I better just keep this money in the bank, right? I mean, it's not going to stimulate spending and juice the economy.
And if employers are smart, they'll just keep collecting it, figuring that that's in the real interest of their employees, rather than be socked with a bill, come April 15th or January.
Employers are also worried about the liability there. I mean, what if they suspend this tax, an employee leaves and say in December, and the employer is probably on the hook for that tax liability. The Treasury is going to come after somebody, and the employer has deep pockets, they'll go after them. So I think employers are going to be very reluctant to go along with this. It's very doubtful that Trump can make companies suspend the tax. So if it's just not going to happen. It's going to be a mirage.
But he has an argument for his reelection here, because what Donald Trump is saying is, I want to get rid of the payroll tax, and if you elect me, I'll go to Congress and I'll just lower it permanently.
Well, but that's scary, because the payroll tax supports Medicare and Social Security, which are two tremendously popular programs. I think he's also giving the Democrats an issue here, because if you don't have the payroll tax, how are you going to fund those very important programs, which already have long-term solvency issues?
Yeah, right. And
and that's another point about why this won't stimulate spending. I mean, if you're a if you're a retiree or near retiree and you're worried now about the solvency or the viability long term of Social Security, are you going to spend more money now, or are you going to save more money in case you need it?
That's right. That's right. This whole thing points to this utter failure of the United States government at all levels. I mean, Congress should be fixing this. Yeah, they're arguing back and forth, and you got this backwards thing coming out of the White House. You know, it's an argument for throwing them all out.
Well, that is the root of the problem. I mean, Congress didn't come to an agreement, before these unemployment benefits run out. They're on recess now, I guess. Even though there's some talk, some discussion that the talks, the negotiations may resume. But we're into election season. It's
and it surprises me because there is reasonable compromise to be made. The Republicans make the argument that a lot of people with this extra $600 that they're getting are making more money now than they were when they were working, and that is a discouragement for going to work. But you had a good idea in your column. The obvious rational thing is to link the $600 to the unemployment rate. When the unemployment rate drops below 10%, you knock it down to 400 or something. 8%, you knock it down to 300. That's the logical way to deal with this. Why aren't we seeing reason?
I don't know. I think it's because we're in an election season, and the Republican Party in particular seems split here between some hardcore deficit hawks who don't want to spend any more, even though this is the equivalent of a wartime scenario. We're at war with a tiny enemy that we can't see, but it's going to be costly to get past this. And there's a segment of the Republican-led Senate that doesn't want to spend any more money to get through this crisis.
Then you have
I think just the general presidential year politics, reluctant to cede any talking points or any ground to the other side.
Then again, you have more than 20 million people laid off who are about to get a tremendous pay cut, and they're going to vote because they're laid off. They have nothing else to do, and they are going to blame somebody. Now, if I were Mitch McConnell sitting in Kentucky with a reasonably good opponent on the Democratic side, I'd worry about this, but he doesn't seem to be worried at all. So I don't.
In fact, they've already gotten that pay cut. That money ran out at the end of July, and it remains to be seen whether anything will come of this Trump's executive order to give them $300 or $400 a month for a short time. There are going to be legal challenges to that. So I mean, I think we're going off this fiscal cliff right now, and the economy, which has been steadily improving through May, June, July, I think we're going to see a lot worse numbers in the next few weeks.
You've just given a tremendous pay cut to 20+ million people. You know that's going to reverberate through the economy. You know that the guy who can no longer buy as many groceries at the grocery store, you're going to have grocery carts laid off. They're not going to be able to get their cars fixed. You're going to have mechanics laid off. It's just a spiral that goes down and down, and it started deliberately in Congress. It's criminal. It's appalling.